The 6 o'clock news starts right now.
Adrian, let me see your hands. Running. He's got a gun. Good.
Tonight, San Antonio police releasing body cam video from a shooting where an officer killed a man. Investigators say that man was wanted on multiple warrants, including aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and family violence. It happened July 16th at a hotel off of I-35 near Eisenhower Road. According to SAPD, 2 officers were at the hotel waiting for 30-year-old Adrian San Martin to come outside.
In the video, an officer orders San Martin to show his hand. You see San Martin running from the officers with a gun in his hand. As San Martin gets closer to the access road, 2 more officers arrive in a police unit. The officer driving slows down and fires through the windshield, hitting San Martin. He was taken to a nearby hospital where he died. The district attorney's office is now investigating and reviewing this video. No outdoor burning in Bexar County. That's the rule for the next 90 days.
Of course, it's because of the heat. Bexar County commissioners approved the burn ban earlier today. Meanwhile, Bexar County fire officials just started a new unit to fight wildfires. Our RJ Marquez has more.
Well, the heat's not going away anytime soon, and that's why Bexar County officials today announced a new collaboration that will help fight grass and wildfires in the outside areas of the county. The Bexar County Wildfire Strike Team is a special unit focused on covering fires in East and West Bexar County and in unincorporated areas that have large pieces of land and dry vegetation. This new unit will use specialized equipment and gear to fight fires. That includes a wildland apparatus, different trucks and engines to get to brush fires or rough terrain, and a water tender or tanker to get water in places that are hard to reach. Bexar County fire officials say they have been responding to calls for grass and wildfires nearly every day, and this collaboration will help them coordinate and respond faster and hopefully stay on top of a fire before it spreads.
Increase our ability to put out the fires fast and having that initial response versus just 1 or 2 trucks showing up to a fire that they could mitigate, but due to the weather, having this team together is going to be able to put those fires out fast.
April, May, even beginning of June area, we had a lot of precipitation, so that caused a lot of the natural vegetation out there to grow. So you actually have an abundance of dried fuel that is out there that can sustain combustion.
And Bexar County fire officials tell us that this is the first time that county districts have coordinated like this to fight grass or wildfires. They say with the low humidity, high winds, and the dry landscape that the conditions outside right now are extreme. So they want you to be careful outdoors and follow those burn ban requirements. Reporting from the northwest side, RJ Marquez, KSAT 12 News.
Speaking of fires, this weekend we also saw a devastating apartment complex fire. It's the very reason that the Red Cross is helping more than 30 people right now. That fire broke out at the Frederick Apartments on Gus Eckert Road. It's just the latest fire that's contributing to a record year for the local Red Cross. Last month alone, the nonprofit covered more than 20 fires, giving out $45,000 in aid. So far, the Red Cross is on track to dole out $600,000 this year, and that is draining their resources. But leaders do say that they've been able to replenish some of that money.
And that is 100% through the fundraising efforts of the local office. So that's how we fundraise for that resource, and then we give them out to the client directly.
Now, we should mention that 90% of the Red Cross staff are volunteers, but they need more help. If you want to help in some way, if you want to volunteer or donate, you can call 1-800-RED-CROSS or you can go to redcross.org.
It turns out free help can sometimes be expensive. CPS Energy's Casa Verde program helps low-income customers better insulate and weatherize their homes. But while the people may qualify, many of their homes do not, leaving the person to sweat it out until they can make the pricey repairs. City Hall reporter Garrett Berger tells us how the city is considering helping out.
Cheryl Tyrone grew up in the same West Side home she lives in now. It makes her feel warm to be there. Unfortunately, in more ways than one.
It's very hot in here. It's very hot. You do need an air conditioner.
And it's no wonder. There are gaps and even enormous missing patches of drywall.
And with holes like this for air to escape from, the air ducts may as well be blowing money.
In fact, they pretty much are, judging by her bills.
The most recent one here has came down. It was $280. But during the winter, it's like $300.
But some of the problems with her home are the same reasons she says she doesn't qualify for CPS's Casa Verde weatherization program.
Because I would need to replace the sheetrock.
CPS says repair issues keep about 30% of qualifying homes from getting the weatherization help.
It might be because they have an active roof leak. It might need electrical issues, plumbing issues. There might be high carbon monoxide in the home.
And until the renter or homeowner can get those fixed, they're on hold for the weatherization program. But repairs like that can be a tall order. CPS says it's putting some money aside to help.
We're going to be putting in $100,000 to that fund.
And the San Antonio City Council will vote Thursday on providing at least another $500,000. The city says its money could cover repairs for about 140 homes if the utility spends an average of $3,500 on each home. That still may not cover everyone's issues. For example, Cheryl Tyrone says she has some foundation problems at play.
I do think that we're going to have to set some type of cap. I just don't know exactly what that's going to be today.
But it still means more people have a shot at making the program after all.
I can get that help, and I need it, and I really be appreciated of it because I really do need it to keep this house warm for the winter and cool for the summer.
Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
And boy, do you need it right now. I mean, we're setting records on a daily basis. Did we set another one today, Adam Caskey?
Yep, we didn't just tie it, we broke the record. 105 for the high temperature today. The previous record, 104, set back in 1953. Of course, the average is 97. Now, climatologically speaking, this is the hottest time of year in San Antonio, where we have our warmest average high temperature. And you look across the state for high temperatures, and the records are in yellow. The highs measured today are in white. So, for example, San Angelo, 109, beats the old record of 107. Del Rio, 109, beating the old record of 105. Even Austin, 106 for the high temperature today, but that was not a record high temperature. We'll be back to talk about the updated map of burn bans along with our fire danger in just a bit.
All right, Adam, thank you. So right now there is a spotlight on the border as politicians criticize Governor Greg Abbott over his so-called floating border barrier along the Rio Grande.
As part of Operation Lone Star, Texas has installed those buoys along the river and razor wire to keep people from coming into the U.S. Some people have gotten hurt. Last week, a body found near one of those buoys near Eagle Pass. That's where Congressman Joaquin Castro and other leaders stopped by today. Our Jonathan Cotto joins us live from Eagle Pass with more.
Yeah, Jonathan, let's start with Congressman Castro. What did he say about those buoys?
Estefania, well, we're here at the Texas-Mexico-U.S. border where we know Congressman Joaquin Castro was leading the congressional delegation to get a firsthand insight of what's happening here at the border and the effects of Operation Lone Star. As we know, that's an operation that launched aiming to secure the border and prevent or have an impact on illegal immigration. Now, one of the things that stood out that Castro mentioned today is the fact that he's calling this a barbaric campaign of cruelty. He says migrants have the legal right to seek asylum in the U.S. and says the Eagle Pass community has become collateral damage. And I want to just show you that they've made mention that the buoys you see on your camera have a chainsaw mechanism that justifies it calling it a barbaric campaign. And I also want to show you something that he and the rest of the delegates saw was the fact that they were able to notice pieces of clothing attached along the concertina wire, the buoys. And as you can see here, this is a witness of that itself, a set of jeans with the belt still attached and some undergarments, and that is exactly what Castro was referencing today. I have to mention Senator Roland Gutierrez also says, also calling this not a strategy of immigration, but a strategy of torture. And considering that the reduction in crossings, in migrant crossings, is down 70%, he says these efforts are unnecessary.
Jonathan, I have one more question. Sorry, my microphone wasn't open, so I know you couldn't hear me. But Jonathan, I want to clarify what you're saying about these buoys themselves. There's some sort of wire or there's some sort of deterrent to even getting close to the buoys. Is that what you're saying right now that Joaquin Castro brought up?
That's correct, Steve. You know, we already had an understanding that these buoys rotated. So if you were trying to approach the floating device, the buoy itself, the orange ball were rotated. But he says that they've noticed that the buoys themselves have a chainsaw-like mechanism that is sharp and that presents a very significant hazard to anybody trying to cross the buoys themselves.
Wow. Okay, and that's some dramatic video that you had there too. A dramatic shot of just somebody leaving their jeans behind after it got caught up in that concertina wire there.
All right, Jonathan Cotto, live from Eagle Pass. Thank you, Jonathan.
To other news now, and we now know the names of 2 people killed in a double murder in Bandera. One of the victims is the suspect's mother. According to Bandera County, the 2 people found bludgeoned to death inside of a home are Crystal Dawn Holder and Richard Otto Byring III. County officials also say Holder is the mother of Michael Novak, the man arrested for the murders. Novak was taken into custody almost 2 weeks ago. Court records show he's charged with 2 counts of murder, Novak being held on a $1 million bond.
Tonight, San Antonio police are looking into 2 overnight shootings that investigators think may be connected. Now, according to SAPD, a man flagged down an ambulance on Culebra Road near Northwest 18th Street sometime around 1:30 this morning. He had told paramedics that he had been shot. That man told officers that he was dropped off in the area after he was shot at an apartment complex over on the east side. Now, according to police, they also went to a shooting at an apartment complex on Upland earlier that night. Officers say that a man was shot in the chest and died at the hospital. SAPD says that the man that was found on Culebra, the one that we told you about first, matched the description of the suspect from the shooting on Upland. Now, police are still trying to verify if those 2 are connected.
San Antonio police are trying to find the 2 people responsible for a string of robberies early this morning. According to police, the apparent spree started about 5 this morning along Vance Jackson, Buena Vista, and South Josephine Streets. The victims told police that they were robbed by 2 gunmen, all on the west side. Shortly after that, police started getting calls for robberies on the south side. SAPD says people at a restaurant in the 1500 block of Somerset Road and construction workers at a site on Cascade Parkway were robbed. Officers say in all, at least 7 people were held up. According to SAPD, the robbers in all of those cases, 2 men in a white Hyundai car. No arrests have been made.
And now let's take a live look outside. This is Loop 410 at Fredericksburg Road, where, traffic not looking too shabby out there right now. 104 degrees, 611 right now. Now, we want you to stick around because still ahead on the news at 6, there are a lot of fears, and you've heard this, that artificial intelligence is going to take our jobs. But a local small business is using that technology to their benefit. Stick around.
Artificial intelligence could replace 300 million jobs. That's according to a report by investment bank Goldman Sachs. We've seen the user-friendly nature of programs like ChatGPT and its counterparts, but have we seen an impact in our community yet?
The answer is yes. Max Massey is going to show us how local small businesses are using AI to be more efficient without cutting jobs.
The name of my company is the Entrepreneur World. We develop entrepreneurial skills in college students in the United States and Latin America.
Meet Washington Navarro, a small business owner who uses generative AI to make the entrepreneurial world better.
What we learned really quick is how to utilize it and how to implement it in our benefit.
Artificial intelligence, or AI, might seem complicated, might seem overwhelming, but odds are it's already been integrated in your day-to-day lives.
I think that it's important for people to recognize that, yes, generative AI is the latest and greatest version of AI and technology, but this technology has been integrated into the world since the early 2000s in a very recognizable way.
Ivy Vasquez Sandoval is a robot software engineer at Plus One Robotics, a company using AI since its inception.
What AI is attempting to do is it's a mathematical approach, a programmatic approach to mimicking a singular task that humans do or a small subset of tasks that humans perform.
Generative AI, like ChatGPT, is used for efficiency and speed.
Kind of menial task at the moment. We anticipate that, that obviously is going to grow as time moves forward. But right now, it's sort of like we're not seeing that big of an impact just yet.
Workforce Solutions Alamo hasn't seen AI replacing jobs, but they do urge people to start thinking about the future.
If you don't have certifications, if you don't have marketable skills, if you don't have the ability to sort of kind of continuously sort of learn and continuously move along with the market, then you may be one of those individuals that actually is going to be potentially replaced by AI.
As for Washington, he has advice for anyone who's been reluctant with technology.
Just be curious.
Max Massey, KSAT 12 News.
Just be curious.
This is true.
Yeah. All right. Outside, I'm not that curious because I know what's coming down the pike.
We know what to expect. We know what we've been dealing with. Every time we leave the building, go into our cars, ouch.
Yeah. But curious and always wanting to learn. That's the mindset.
That's absolutely.
And even in this weather pattern, our weather team has been great with, finding other information for you. We even have the newest burn ban map and the fire risk map coming up for you as well. But let's take a look at our overall headlines here. More record challenging heat. So not just triple digits, but record challenging. I think 3 of the next 7 days we'll see records fall or be tied. Elevated fire danger because it's hot and very dry. This dry, rain-free stretch not doing us any favors. All right, take a look at our temperature trend going forward. 105 again tomorrow, 106 Thursday, Friday. That should be our peak. And then we drop by a degree or two in the days thereafter. Now, we are expecting to tie or break the records on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It's going to be more of the same. And you may see either on the news or on social media that ERCOT issues their weather watch, which basically means that the supply and demand projections are going to get really close. So this blue line here up top, that's the predicted supply, the available electricity for the Texas grid. And this red line is the projected demand. And notice how they get really close here. Very close several days ahead, especially on Thursday in particular. And that's just for the hottest part of the day, not all day, just the hottest part of the day in the afternoon when we really stress our grid. So good reminder to conserve energy as much as you can between 3 and 8 p.m. in particular. Right now, nothing but sunshine, 103 degrees at the airport. Dew point is 61, so the heat index not a factor. I've been talking about that a lot because this is contrary to June. Remember back in June, we did not have the typical lower dew point in the afternoon. We had high humidity all day. That's not the case now. So that's good because it keeps in check the feels like temperature or the heat index, but the relative humidity drops. So right now, relative humidity levels in the 20th percentile all across the board. And this is going to be the same trend tomorrow. It's the same trend every day for the foreseeable future. Very sticky at night and in the morning. And then by the afternoon, sure, it's hot out, but the relative humidity and the mugginess drops significantly, which is good in terms of how it feels and the heat index or lack thereof, as I was saying before. But it's not good when it comes to fire danger. So dry grass and dry vegetation is what we have out there. The lower afternoon humidity, that plays a big role in the ingredients for the higher fire danger. Also, our wind picks up in the afternoon and evening, and that gustier wind can spread the flames and the fire more rapidly. Here's a look at the latest burn ban map updated today. The vast majority of the KSAT 12 viewing area including now Bexar County as of today. The only exceptions, Medina, Uvalde, Real, Live Oak, B County, and McMullen County. Those are the only exceptions as of now. That can change even just within 24 hours or less. Now, according to the A&M Fire Service, the fire danger tomorrow is at the high level in northern Bexar County and even up into the hill country. You get very high in other parts of the hill country and points northward. And this doesn't mean that the weather's going to start a fire. Keep that in mind. It takes a spark to start a fire, but that spark can come from something as simple as chains dangling from your trailer that are knocking against the roadway. You have no idea it's happening, but it can. So double check those chains. If working with power tools, certain power tools that make sparks outside, that can ignite a fire quickly. It's just with the parched, dry conditions, something we have to deal with around here this time of year. This would have been nice to have. Watch this. Earlier this morning, Oklahoma, Arkansas. Oh my goodness. Look at that, right? Look at that complex. Oh, soaking rain. Just too far to the north of us. New Mexico getting some good moisture. And remember, our friends in New Mexico could use it as well. That's because the heat heights drop down into northern Mexico. And this time of year, monsoon season in the southwestern U.S. and the Four Corners, including New Mexico here, that heat high actually pulls moisture in from the Pacific and gives them their monsoon season. This is when they get a good amount of their rainfall for the year. You look at the rainfall potential over the next 7 days, and we're still missing out. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's our time to make up any ground when it comes to the rainfall. Here's your KSAT 12-hour forecast. 8 a.m. tomorrow, 80 degrees. By noon, we're at 94. A lot of sunshine, 105 for the high temperature. It may feel like 106 for an hour or two tomorrow afternoon, but that's about it. Uvalde 104, Kerrville 102 tomorrow, Cotulla up to 109, Beeville a humid 102, Converse 104, and Timberwood Park you'll be 103, Elmendorf area 105. Basically, think of high temperatures and afternoons right around 105 for the next 7 days, give or take a degree or so. I wish we could say there's some moisture headed our way, but even the tropics are very quiet right now.
All right. Thank you, Adam.
A cool 102, though.
Oh, boy.
Tuesday, maybe.
What a break.
Yeah.
Stick around. We'll be right back after the break.
It has been a summer of strikes in Los Angeles. For the first time in 40 years, employees in the city are going on a 24-hour strike, demanding higher wages.
Yeah, those workers are joining the ongoing hotel workers, writers, and actors who have already gone on strike. ABC's Melissa Adan has the story from Los Angeles.
Picket lines filling Los Angeles International Airport Tuesday as thousands of LA City workers walked off the job. Sanitation workers, bus drivers, traffic officers, and many more holding a 24-hour strike to highlight what they're calling unfair labor practices.
The goal of today is to tell the city that we want to be respected when we go to the bargaining table.
They're overworking me, overworking others, and it's affecting our family lives.
The union is calling for better pay and benefits amid the high cost of living.
They've negotiated in bad faith, meaning that they've brought folks to the table that weren't able to even have the authority to settle certain agreements.
This latest job action coming on top of the 11,000 writers, 160,000 actors, and 15,000 hotel workers also on the picket lines. The striking unions showing the power of organized labor, but it's also impacting the economy.
The makeup, the hair, the grips, the electrics, you know, people who work the long hours and have nowhere to go right now. Nowhere to go while we fight this out.
Fall film and TV programming is now in jeopardy. The show Jeopardy says without its writing staff this fall, it will be reusing old clues and former contestants. The LA mayor insists that they are bargaining in good faith and assures that the city won't shut down, but is warning Angelenos that city services like parking enforcement and trash pickup will be delayed. Melissa Adan, ABC News, Los Angeles.
All right, by the way, I want to mention that we're having some technical difficulties with some of our video. That's why we don't have a sportscast today at 6.
And hopefully Larry Ramirez will be back here on the Night Beat. But yeah, we want you to stick around because we'll see you on the other side of this break. Welcome back. 6:30 now. Time for our KSAT Q&A. Joining us live is San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg.
Mr. Mayor, always appreciate your time. You know, I want to start with the question about the heat. It's what everybody's talking about. It's on everybody's mind. Your concerns right now, and do they go from not only the citizens of San Antonio and South Texas, but to the power grid?
Sure. Well, as you know, we've been making records lately with the heat wave that we've had in the heat dome. Just read today that we set a new record, the one that we broke last year with days over 105. So the heat is intense and it's dangerous. And we're making sure that folks know the signs of heat illness, heat exhaustion, heat stroke, making sure that they are aware of the importance of hydration. Also, the fact that we've got cooling centers, cooling locations all around town, 80 plus places where people can go to cool down. And if you don't have transportation to get there, call 311. We can get you. But it is dangerous heat. Of course, there's always the concern about the stability of the ERCOT grid, the state grid. CPS Energy continues to produce and provide electricity for folks around our city. But we do have responsibilities to the state grid if there are outages in other parts of the state. And with the demand at record levels going higher and higher, ERCOT has put out the message that people should be conserving where they can. So there is a level of anxiety that I know that people have. I would say that if it was all CPS's responsibility, we'd be okay. But we've got to make sure that folks around the state are also doing their part to produce the energy and also ensure that their customers are conserving where it's possible.
All right, but let's talk about some things that San Antonians and also city leaders can do to help this, because it's not just that it's super hot, it's the sustained, prolonged heat that, you know, if we're talking about heat-related illnesses, that would affect our hospitals. We're also talking about businesses. We've had food trucks, people that have small businesses that are suffering. We had a lady a few weeks ago that she had an ice cream shop, couldn't even run it because it just wasn't cool enough in there. So what are city leaders prepared to do to help San Antonians, and what can you ask San Antonians to do to help the situation while we're here?
Yeah, well, number one, make sure that people know the signs of heat illness. That's number one, is just personal safety. And so that includes making those cooling centers available for folks who don't have a cool place to go. Libraries, splash pads, public pools, the places that the city offers. There's 80 around town. And if folks don't have a way to get there, we will come and get them in partnership with VIA. So there are ways of getting around town to ensure that they're in cooling locations. Now, with respect to resources to run businesses and to meet the demand for both energy and water, we're asking folks to be conscious of their use. Conserve where you can. During high energy peak periods where we get warned by ERCOT, we want folks, if they can, to set their thermostats a little higher. It's a little uncomfortable in my house during the evenings now, but we've got to do what we can to conserve and make sure that we can meet the demand, not just in San Antonio, but folks around the state. So we're going to do everything we can to meet the need here. And I think we are in good shape with the responsibility of our neighbors all around town. But again, everybody's got to be conscious and aware. And the most important thing, again, is to make sure that they're aware of the signs of heat illness. That includes heat exhaustion, heat stroke, and the importance of staying hydrated.
You know, yesterday, Mr. Mayor, when we're talking about all this, we talked to meteorologist Adam Caskey about it. I mean, is this the new normal? I mean, I know a lot of people don't want to talk about climate change. They don't want to acknowledge climate change. So we kind of left that off the board and just talked about the fact that this is the new normal. And so how, as a city, do you prepare for summers after summers like this?
And this may be, Stephanie, to get more direct to your question, the responsibilities of the city government and VIA, et cetera. We're doing work to make sure that we increase tree plantings. We've got an additional tranche of resources that council just voted on to increase tree canopy around town. One of VIA's top missions right now, among all, is to ensure that their bus shelters are providing some shade to make sure that people are out of the elements who are waiting for the bus. We've got a lot of work to do, not just in San Antonio, just around the country on the urban heat island effect. So we've got some pilot programs to test things like cooler pavement coatings. So there's a lot of work just on infrastructure. And the way we used to do things perhaps back in the 80s and 90s is not working anymore, simply because of the growth of the city, the amount of blacktop you see all over the state, including in San Antonio, and the fact that, the climate has changed. 105-degree days in a string, hitting a record after consecutive years of doing the same. This heat is intense, it's unrelenting, and it's not something that we've seen before. The temperature has markedly increased, and the meteorologists and the researchers tell us that, and it's evident in their research.
So as you see this problem, it's becoming a bigger problem. This year has been super hot. People are suffering. So then that would mean that the city government would also have to increase its budget when it comes to any issues regarding this particular issue. So I'm wondering, since you're in the midst of budget talks, what are your priorities and how much, and what are you doing? Are you going to add anything more as we fight climate change to your budget?
Sure. One of the things that we did was really kind of redirect some funds that were already coming into the city last year. We created a resiliency and environmental sustainability fund, the REASE fund, that is essentially revenue that was being generated through CPS. And so we have roughly $10 million a year now going to pilot and implement certain measures to reduce the urban heat island. I mentioned a couple of them, but we're also going to be testing some innovations as well for that. One of my colleagues has just put forward a proposal for green alleyways. We've got some infrastructure work going on in alleyways across the city. How can we use that as an opportunity to reduce urban heat island effect? But to be honest, Stephanie, the priorities of the budget this year include improving public safety, improving infrastructure. We've just got to change the way we do things all across the country. And with respect to infrastructure, we've got to make it more resilient. We've got to pay closer attention to increasing and preserving green space, which also reduces that urban heat island effect. So it's really a change in the way we think about how we build cities these days in light of what we've seen through the changing climate.
As we're talking about the budget, I'm going to kind of make a segue from climate and kind of some of the things we're doing to public safety. I know that they're in the budget. You have asked, and I think there seems to be an effort to increase the police force, to hire more officers. And San Antonio seems to be, we've seen it in polling. San Antonio wants accountability for our police force, but they also support the police force.
Right.
How many officers are you talking about? And is that sustainable past year one? I know that a lot of federal dollars are going to be used to add some of these officers. Can we still pay for that down the line, though, when those federal dollars aren't there?
Well, public safety is job number one for any city government, and so will remain that way. And that we hope we get some relief from the federal grants that we receive. But in the event that that doesn't happen, we're going to continue with the priority being public safety. Let me tell you, we are working with UTSA and doing some analysis of staffing levels. And they have recommended that over the course of about 3 to 5 years, we're going to add about 360 officers to the patrol division. And the purpose for that is to change the ratio of proactive to reactive patrolling that happens in the city. Right now, we're about 40% proactive to 60% reactive, meaning that 60% of the time that an officer's on the street, he or she is actively responding to a call. We're going to flip that ratio. And in order to do that, obviously, we need more personnel in patrol. So we're going to start that effort in a big way this year. We've got another 100 officer positions that we're putting into this year's budget. The city council will hear the first presentation on the proposed budget on Thursday. It'll start the process to go through public town halls. So if you're interested in this part of the budget or anything else, please go to one of those town halls and let us know your thoughts. But, that's one element of policing. There are other elements of public safety that we're also analyzing right now and make some augments to the budget in light of those results when they come in as well.
Mr. Mayor, we have to wrap up, but I'd be remiss not to ask you this question. So I looked it up. It is almost about 20 degrees cooler in D.C. right now. You've been to D.C., so you know the scuttlebutt around town is that you're being courted by the Biden administration. Can we have a response to that? And if they offer you a position, will you take it?
So number one, I don't pay attention to any of the speculation. Number two, the only reason I got into politics and public service is because I love this city. And I want to devote my time to making it the greatest city in the world. And so that's where my focus will be. I have no plans to be anywhere but San Antonio over the next 2 years.
Budgets, Biden, climate change. I think we covered a lot today, Mr. Mayor. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And birds up and go Spurs go.
There you go. We'll be right back.